We're here with David Meerman Scott. David Meerman Scott is the author of The New Rules of Marketing PR, an award-winning bestseller, they always say about the book. He's here today at the Marketing Pioneers Conference in Amsterdam, and we're going to talk about the theme of the conference, and that is supersize your sales. David, supersize your sales with social media marketing, is that possible?
Yeah, how are you, Remco? So of course it is, and it's about reaching the people that you're trying to reach, I call them your buyer personas. And so many companies have been focused on this idea of buying advertising and begging the media to write about them. But what's going on in here in the conference is pretty exciting because there's lots of different ideas of ways to reach buyers that don't necessarily require buying advertising, that don't necessarily require getting the media to write about you.
Yeah, that's one thing for sales. Of course, you were watching the Red Bull presentation right now. So why do you want to watch it even though it was in Dutch?
I like very much what he's saying. And what he's talking about is this interesting concept of a brand bank account. I just like the idea. Basically, brands that give a lot are putting things into their bank account, and brands that only take are removing from their bank account. Mm-hmm. And the best way to grow your business is to put as much as you can into your bank. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I hadn't heard it before.
It's like I heard the concept earlier in the terms of social media currency. So what could a company use as a social media currency?
So I think that's actually a very good analogy, because the currency you're putting into the bank account is that social media. So if you're really helpful in social media, you answer people's questions, you provide valuable things, you're putting interesting stuff out on Twitter, you have great blog posts that are helpful, you're putting up, for example, videos, that's all adding to your currency, social media currency. That's adding to your bank account. And the more things you add to your bank account, the more you can then grow your business. But I think what most organizations are doing is they're taking. And things like pushing your product or doing TV commercials, that's taking, because you're taking attention from people.
Your book is called The New Rules of Marketing PR, and the old rules are the taking, right? And the new rules is more giving, perhaps? How can you translate that analogy?
The main thing is that the old rules of marketing, and this is marketing before the web. I'm not saying that this is wrong, but marketing before the web, you only had a few options. You could either buy attention with advertising, or you could beg the media for attention using PR, or you could bug people one at a time with a sales force to try to get attention. But now the web gives us a new opportunity, and that is to earn attention by publishing something interesting online. You've heard this before. Mm-hmm. Publishing interesting information online, it doesn't matter what it is, an ebook, a blog post, a white paper, a Twitter feed, whatever it is, but publishing that information. Now, the reason I call it the new rules of marketing and PR is because it requires a different skill set. Mm-hmm. People who are good at offline marketing are good at buying attention and coercing people to do things, and people who are good at offline
not using the social media currency, right?
Yeah. And people who are good at offline public relations are good at things like sending PR pitches and press releases and whatnot. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's still fine in an offline world. Mm-hmm. But to be successful in an online world, what it requires is earning attention from people by creating interesting information, putting it out online, and if you do that, then people will find you.
Back to the topic here on supersize your sales. Would these new rules help you to supersize your sales, perhaps?
Oh, absolutely, because the more you get yourself out there, then when people are searching in the search engines, they'll find you. If you put something like, let's say, a great YouTube video out, and then people can share it with their friends. They share it on Facebook, they share it on Hives, they share it on Twitter, they share it through email. And so the more things that you publish, the better your search engine rank is, and the more you have that people can share. Mm-hmm. So, and that will supersize your sales. I mean, there's no question that the more people who are finding your stuff, particularly if there's helpful information involved, the more people are likely to buy it.
Your book is now in its second edition, launched January 4, right? What's new in the book? So what's the new rules of marketing PR?
Actually, the concepts are identical. I didn't change the philosophy at all. Philosophy is, it's a great way, I think, of thinking about the new world. The new world is, to be successful online, you have to think like a publisher, publish content. What's different, I wrote the first edition in 2006.
That's in the Stone Ages, right?
It's a long time ago, and it came out in 2007. But in 2006, Second Life was really big. Twitter did not exist. Facebook was only for students, so people with a .edu web address. Probably Hives didn't exist in
2004.
Oh, early. Okay. So when I finished the book, put it out, it was fine. But right away it became, oh my gosh, there's no Twitter. Facebook isn't in there. So the new edition, of course, adds Facebook, it adds Twitter, it adds some other things. I took Second Life from 3 pages down to 1 paragraph, because it's just not as big as everybody thought it was going to be. And then I added a bunch of new stories. There's about 50 stories in the book of people who have been successful. I removed about 20, I added about 20 just to make them fresh and interesting.
You just started with Foursquare, you told me yesterday. Did you have time to put Foursquare in the book already?
No, Foursquare is not in the book. I'm working on a new book now, so Foursquare will be in that book. Yeah, I started Foursquare last week, so it's fun. I just registered here, or what's it called? Not registered.
Pakhuis de Zwijger.
Yeah. So I'm now. It says I'm here.
Yeah, check in.
Check in, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? There's always something new, but that doesn't mean that's the best. Twitter has got a lot of hype right now, but that's just one tool. YouTube is great, but that's just one tool. I mean, there's literally thousands of ways to get out there.
And now you have Vimeo, Vidler, Ustream, Justin TV, whatever.
Quick. There's all sorts of different ways to get out there. So, don't just go after the hottest, newest, most exciting kind of thing. Instead, think about who are the people you're trying to reach and what kind of things are they using, because that's the right thing for you to use.
Yeah, you still use TypePad. Everybody uses WordPress nowadays, right?
I'm a TypePad guy. Yeah, what can I say?
But still, it's always a difficult question to answer. But what would be the next thing? And I don't mean in the terms of tools, but what would be the future for like social media marketing? Where are we going?
Oh, I think there's 2 things that are really interesting to me. The first thing is that this is a global. What's happening now is global. I didn't think that in 2006 when I was writing the New Rules of Marketing and PR, but that book now is translated into 24 languages. And so we're talking about something that's global. That's really exciting to me. The second thing is that we're just in the beginning of this revolution. There's a lot of companies that don't do any of this stuff. So we're in the beginning of a revolution. So those are the 2 things that are most interesting to me. I'm not very good at predicting the future, but the thing that's most exciting to me right now is mobile marketing with GPS, some kind of GPS component. That's why I'm interested in Foursquare, because you have a mobile device, you carry it around, the GPS knows where you are, and as a marketer, that's pretty interesting. What can I do with that? There's a lot of things I can do with that. I think that's going to become interesting. Like all forms of marketing, though, there's danger that they'll become spam. They'll become unwanted messages.
Then people say it's a hype, it's overused, it's unuseful.
Exactly. But imagine, we didn't even have that capability only a couple of years ago, and now there's a capability that anybody walking around, GPS-enabled mobile phone, if they're using some sort of device, you know who they are. You can provide some relevant, appropriate marketing without trying to, spam them or send them unwanted messages. Interesting stuff.
Well, thank you very much for this interview. I think this is a great final thought.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good to see you.